I mean, I didn't know that you all left. You left the Jamaat.
No, well, they kicked us out. I think for a certain reason. My father still follows Sheikh Jelani, but as far as like being there and being like ridiculed and ruled by them, I guess in a way, nah, we've been left there because they didn't like the fact that we went to school, public school, and everything.
Oh, that you got kicked out because you were going to public school.
Right? Yeah, a lot of people weren't supposed to send their kids to public school. But I mean, I liked the fact that we left anyway because it's coming to Maryland and all that stuff. It gave me a different outlook on.
What kind of outlook?
Like, you know what I'm saying? You meet different type of Muslims here. It's like, and then they'll tell you what's like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff we doing, some stuff you doing is wrong. What's wrong about it? How is it wrong? You know, but I know so many different type of Islams up here. It's crazy. It's like now just gotta be trying to be careful.
Okay, so now that you're around other Muslims, and I heard about this. I heard about like when, people from off the land, when they go around other Muslims and they see, just like what you said, right? So you said some of the things that they were doing. Like what type of things do you think?
Well, I feel like they was too controlling at the time, but they definitely looked at the shots way too much. I ain't gonna say he wasn't who he was, because I don't want to law, you know what I'm saying? But I think as far as how they were looking far into him like that, that wasn't legit.
Okay, when you say looking into, do you mean they were looking into his background to find out who his sheikh was and how he learned what he learned, or were they just looking at him like, oh, you're so close to Allah type?
Well, not even this. I think they just took his title more than what he was supposed to be there for.
Good.
I feel like they worshipped him more than anything.
And of course, that's shirk, that's worshiping
Right.
other than Allah. But let's move on, because there's something I mean, now that you mention, okay, so who was he exactly? Like, who did you believe he was?
Well, to be honest, my focus was more mainly the prophets and the law, of course, at the end of the day.
Right.
So, him being a sheikh, all I know is that sheikh's supposed to be a guide, like nothing more than a guide. So, all the other
a guide, somebody who guides.
Right.
Right. Okay.
He moved the moon and stuff like that, and the law knows best. But I don't know. So it's like my thing is like I just wanted to make sure I'm following the right thing. But at the end of the day, my father told me you don't have to follow him to say you're following Islam. So once I learned that, it's just like, Walaikum salam.
So that's quite interesting that you bring that up. I mean, because I just, I used to hear about it. But now as things are like coming out like clearer and clearer. But I wanted to ask you, so what did you believe, or what does your father, I mean, who told you that he was a sheikh?
Well, see, that's what I said. I heard from my father and all that.
Okay.
They would follow him. Because, in America back in that time, they didn't allow Islam to come in. So when he came through with Islam, I'm not saying he was the only one, but even like in here in New Jersey, it's a I guess you could say a very historical place as far as Islamic culture. I think Islam hit here first before a lot of other, here first before anywhere, if I'm not mistaken, when it came to the U.S. So a lot of stuff didn't come through. They didn't allow the full version of the Quran, for what I'm not mistaken. They didn't allow a lot of stuff. So that's why the Nation of Islam became a thing. And they were able to confuse black people with that. So it's like, back then, I feel like he was like, come again, I guess what you say, the Sunni Islam. And then I don't know if they mixed it up along with all this other stuff they're saying or what's going on. But to me, I never followed too close to a person anyway. At the end of the day, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
How long were you in the Jamaat or whatever before you got kicked out for public school?
We came to Jamaat late. My father was still learning Islam, like back in the day. Like when he came into Jamaat, him and Brother Sadiq, it was probably, I'll say like a couple years, 15 years.
15 years. You were in the Jamaat for 15 years.
Not even that long. I don't even think it was that long. It might have been 10, 8.
10 or 8 years. And while you were in the Jamaat, you got the idea that they were controlling. You got the idea that they were adding things on to, they were looking too much into the sheikh, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the story about him being looked into was because of the fact that they believe that he's what? I mean, he is some friend of Allah, right?
Right.
Okay. And him being a friend of Allah, and them being in control, when did you get a feeling that okay, there is some kind of a mix up, or like what year? Like you were, how old were you when you decided that this can't be it?
Well, I was actually too young by then, but I was still young when I went to Maryland. I was like 20, 21, and I still didn't really fully grasp Islam then. It was like when we went to your Hafiz class, that's when I started learning Arabic.
You started learning Arabic when you came to the Hafiz class.
Yeah, so that's when stuff started coming to realization to me. The land was never really my focus because how they would run things. So it's like I already knew something was messed up within the land a long time ago. They come to cut your power off and stuff like that. So I'm like, and then when I learned that, like, he was just, when I asked my pops, what's the meaning of a sheikh? He was just saying, just a guy. You don't have to follow it. You know what I'm saying? You could choose to go your own way. But, you know what I'm saying? It's just there for you to follow. But once he started doing his own thing from the beginning, once they got in his relationship.
Okay, who started doing something from the beginning?
I hear you say.
No, you said something started from the beginning?
Yeah. I said, nah, back in the day, my father got married to Bart. I don't know if you remember her. Whatever.
Right, okay.
Yeah, they had got in his relationship a long time ago. And once I seen that, then I was like, yeah, this is not it for me. Because it's like...
Okay, so your father married somebody. Is that how your father got into the Jamaat? Because he married somebody who was in there?
Yes.
Okay, now that's also an important piece. So your father, I mean, so your father never did meet Mubarak Jelani.
Nah, he said he never seen him himself.
Okay, so he basically went off of what his wife was already into.
Well, he studied his discourses, and he said from his discourses, he never got nothing wrong from him.
Right,
Only
but
from the people.
yeah, but he studied Shah Saab's discourses on video. He studied, Mubarak Jelani's discourses on video.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I get it. And he didn't see anything wrong, so he said, why not, basically. And he was married, and he stayed in it after he was married.
Abu?
Yeah.
You said, why did he stay in it?
No, not why did he stay in it. What I'm saying is that the way he got into it was through his wife who was already in it, right?
Yeah, I think he learned about it. Some brother came down to Florida when we was in Florida.
And you also said that he watched discourses of Mubarak Jelani, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then decided to be in it, correct? But after they separated, he left the Jamaat.
I think they kicked him out. He kicked him out of the Jamaat, but he still followed the Sheikh's teachings.
Right. Did he ever explain to you what exactly what is the mission of the Sheikh? Did he ever explain that to you?
Not necessarily.
Okay. And for the longest time, I mean, you said not necessarily. What do you mean by not necessarily? As far as you're concerned, what is it that he means, or what is it that you feel when you say not necessarily? Just what do you mean by that?
He was saying just it's a guide to get closer to Allah.
It's a guide to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
By his discourses.
Well, through his teachings, I guess you could say yeah.
Well, here's what I'm dying to understand. Are you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay.
Make sure you lock the door though, cuz.
Okay. I'm listening.
All right. What I'm really trying to understand, when you say discourses, the video discourses, I'm trying, for the life of me, I'm trying to grasp how his discourses are not clear in English. I mean, his English is not English. I mean, look, I struggle, a speaker of several languages, to understand what he's saying. No, really, I'm not even, listen.
I believe you.
Okay, now, the biggest problem with that is Allah Ta'ala does not send a messenger, a prophet, a guide, anyone to a people other than they have the command of those people's language. That's who Allah is. We know Allah. Somebody doesn't know, he said so. That's who he is, okay? So, how it is that he is actually some kind of a guide to Allah, but he does not know Quran. Like, he's not speaking the English clearly enough. Then the Quran, he's not reciting it. I'm trying to figure out exactly how that individual, in other words, he's not getting the guidance from the Quran. So where's he getting it from? Now you mentioned, here's what you mentioned so far and what it is that other people have come forward and said, right? And what it is that I got. So he had all these miracles, or he had people believe that he was, they look into me basically, just like you said earlier. Look into me. So they start looking and they start looking for what? A bunch of miracles and a bunch of supernatural things, right? And then they start to fabricate them. They start to make them up. They've gotten used to it, like it's gone on for that long, 40 years. It's a long time. And he had a degree in psychology. Did you know? I mean, he had a degree in psychology, so he definitely used it. There's no way, So I'm trying to, for the life of me, I'm trying to understand that people who say they watch their discourses, like how did you get guidance from the, English that was unclear and Quran that was not there, just by somebody saying things like, I got this miracle, I'm going to take, people to the court of Holy Nabi, and I'm of Ahlul Bayt, and making all of these, claims, and nobody tried to, it's like nobody tried to verify what he was saying. Like nobody, okay, you're a sheikh, who gave you the authority to be a sheikh? Who is your sheikh? Who gave you these dhikr that you've given? Who gave them to you? Who said that these, we know Sufiya, that's the problem. Like a lot of people do not know that I was raised in a Sufi household anyway. I was raised, in Africa in a Sufi setting, different, various Sufi sects. And I know for a fact, looking at, just like you said, the Muslims who do other things all over the world, but not this type of extensive, like we are the best Muslims or the only Muslims who are chosen to go into Jannah, and we're going to rule. The world is going to come to an end, and Barack Obama is going to be the last, savior like all of these things practically did not bear any fruit. Like, I don't know where so where is the guidance is my question. Like, you left the Quran, which is guidance, because the Quran says, Allah Ta'ala delivers the message clearly and plainly to the people, not sending someone who cannot speak their language, does not have the appropriate command of their language, and not someone who does not have the guidance from Allah, meaning the Quran, the ayat of Allah. He did not reveal it and say that it would be the last revelation so that somebody can come later on and just fabricate things, and then nobody's going to look at the Quran. And then another thing is a lot of the rumors that Islam was not allowed in America before he came. I mean, come on, guys. Nation of Islam was here. Even before that, you had, Drew Ali claims and, Islam. Even before that, you had the Turkish delegation come, and they gave da'wah when they came. Back still in the Ottoman Empire era. So, and then don't tell, like he helped a lot of people. He said, get out the cities and go buy land. We were well known of buying land, 40 acres and a mule a long time ago. He helped a lot of people. Okay, so does the mafia. Does that mean they're a guy? No. Like you can, that in itself, like he helped a lot of people is not a sign that he was a guide. As a matter of fact, there are people who help people in the wrong direction, just like the mafia. They get made guys here, hitmen there, whatever, soldiers there. They're guiding in their own little real new world, but that does not mean that they were sent by Allah to guide people. You see the problem? So, and then he moved the moon or the sun. It was actually the moon. I kind of threw out the sun there. But yeah, and then, he was taught by, Ali radiallahu anhu. Imam Ali taught him, So much, he would be taking him away to teach him at night, and his grandmother would cry, and he would be like, and he would, don't, you put his hand on his, Hazrat Ali would put his hand on his lips telling her, you just be quiet. I mean, come on. So, like, all of these claims have to be substantiated. So they have to be substantiated in, huh?
He would have to be almost a prophet at that point.
No, what do you mean almost a prophet? The stories that people are telling who actually met him firsthand and have heard him say, and in his own videos. I heard the video where he said, if you don't fear Allah, fear me. I mean, just think, yes, I heard that with my own ears.
I believe it. You say,
listen, if you don't, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I mean, I mean, just imagine. If you don't fear Allah, I'm worthy of being feared. And if you do fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you don't have to worry about fearing me. Why are you even in the picture, sir?
yes.
With Allah, why are you even like, so, I mean, so that's another thing, like I think people, they were, like they already used to the ignorance and the lack of, I don't want to use the word ignorance as much, astaghfirullah, but just the misinformation. I mean, who made you believe that he saved everybody by getting them out of the city? When you have people who are actually, working in the city more than people actually live on the land. Like,
I also read that they said that the Rasul stayed around the people.
Exactly. Well, listen, that's another story. Like, he couldn't come to America, and that's a different, he couldn't come to America, and it's a long, drawn-out story, and he's passed away, and it's not about badging him, but it's about clarifying what is false in the teachings that he left behind. He left behind some false teachings because the publications that he put out, that Zavia publication put out under his directives, it's already come out that those were plagiarized. People were cutting and, pasting on, and that's how those books are made up. So that's like a super red flag. You can't, what are you talking about? You don't encourage your children or yourself to be plagiarizing in university or anywhere. So, because that's fraud. You're defrauding people. So you're defrauding us with that, and we're supposed to believe you about a dream where Ali came and taught you. We're supposed to believe that you are made from the spark of Allah. We're supposed to believe the claim that you are of Ahlul Bayt. Like all the claims that you make, we're supposed to believe when you just got finished plagiarizing a bunch of publications. What do you think what's that?
To me, like, my father told me not to speak on it, but to me, in my personal opinion, it's too many people I've seen getting possessed too often.
Right. That's a problem.
I ain't never heard of no stuff like this. I'm like, yo, how is this the most holy place? It's one of the most holy places, and all this craziness is happening.
Right. And
ain't no way.
And what they say?
Well, see, I never said it to nobody, but that's my own personal opinion. That's why I was glad that I ventured out. Like, even going to Turkish mosque, to the Muslim mosque. I heard that even the lady was saying to me the other day, a notch is, she was saying a notch is a bid'ah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, don't get it twisted. Like, that's the thing. Like, people don't really know. There's like, as long as we're mentioning and send Drood upon Holy Last Messenger, who? Listen, dude, I'm going to explain something to you, okay? You, Holy Last Messenger or not, you can't go around fabricating things and asserting it to him. You can't go around fabricating things about Allah. If you do that, he does not accept it. What are you doing it for him, or are you doing it for your little chanting group that you fabricated? All this stuff is fabricated. All the stuff that they sing around there is literally fabricated. There's no way they're going to be able to show it to me in the Quran specifically. And then most importantly, there is no way that they're going to show an authentic silsila chain that came from Abdul Qadir Jilani. since you claim to be a Qadiriyya? Where is this knot that you claim? And in fact, Abdul Qadir Jilani was not necessarily what you claim he was either. You know, that's a problem. That's another problem. You know, researchers on the right side of the fence already claim that Abdul Qadir Jilani was just asserted. They just asserted. People today assert a lot of things to him. And among the things that they assert to him is that he was from the Ahlul Bayt. He was from the family of the Prophet ﷺ. But it's been unfounded. They have not been able, this has not been a valid claim that he was of the family of Rasulullah. But you know what? You need to understand something. Alayhi salatu wasalam. Even those who have blood ties to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam today, they are no more entitled than those who have and apply the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Specifically and particularly if they don't apply it, they're not entitled to the reward of Allah. You know, Abu Jahl, this was the uncle of Prophet. Was he entitled to Jannah? No. Abu Lahab, another one. Was he entitled to Jannah? No. You know, they're blood ties. They're not entitled. But those of Iman, of Taqwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this is the only sect in the Akhirah that are not going to be enemies to one another. Is that they are together for the Taqwa, for the fear of Allah and hoping in Allah. This is the only reason they came together. It's simple. There's nothing there about, you know, the court of Nabi, nothing there about, you know, being in a group and being happy about singing not so that, you know, you don't get kicked off the land or, you know, like these rules, basically, they fabricated them.
And see, I feel like Americans don't know stuff. Like even us, we don't know a lot.